So sometimes you are craving a one pot meal that is so easy to put together and is also really delicious and full of flavor. Here comes plantain porridge. This dish is popular in many parts of West Africa, and I grew up eating it in Nigeria, and it is one of those dishes that it takes very little time to put together, but it tastes like a dish that's been simmering for hours. And I grew up eating this dish as a child, and I have such fond memories of it because my mom cooked it so many times that I literally just remember eating it ever so often. And it's one of those really nutritious dishes, and it is a one pot meal, and I am such a huge fan of one pot meals because I love cooking, right? But sometimes you need a one pot meal to just get food on the table and not have so many dishes to wash. So this is one of those dishes. Now, plantain porridge, I always say that plantains are the big cousins of bananas, and if you're familiar with bananas, then we already have a subtle idea of what plantains could be like. Now, plantains are starchier, and they are obviously bigger in size than the average banana. They also tend to get ripe like bananas do and have less sugar content when it compares to the sweetness that bananas have. Also, the texture has a bit more chew to it because of the starch content. So I'm using unripe plantains for this porridge, but you can use ripe plantains as well. You can also use semi-ripe plantains, and it is delicious in all its stages. So if you have come across plantains, maybe you've tasted the ripe version, this is another really great recipe for you to try out, so you can taste all the spectrums of plantains and find which one's your favorite. I tend to find myself really liking the savory plantains. I do enjoy the ripe ones, but I find myself enjoying the savory ones more. So I do have a plantain chips recipe on the channel, which I will link as well so you can check it out. So this porridge is an easy one pot dish, and basically what I'm blending here are my aromatics. I've got some bell peppers, I've got my habanero pepper, I've got my onions, I've got purple and white onions, and some garlic and ginger. Honestly, this is one of those dishes you can literally make with whatever you have lying around, like when it comes to your taste buds and what you prefer. If you want it spicy, you make it hotter. If you want it mild, you make it that way as well. So I've already sliced my plantain into these little pieces, and this is the way plantain porridge is made. Some people also can make it in larger chunks if they prefer, but I like mine in really tiny pieces. I find that it helps with the texture. I have also added some fish stock, and this is some fish water from the anchovies I blended earlier. You can use some beef broth, you can use some chicken broth for this as well. I have added some dried fish, and dried fish seems to really add a depth of umami flavor to plantain porridge that I find it hard to replicate with like meat or chicken or any other sort of protein. But if that's what you have, please go ahead and use it. But I find that dried fish really adds that extra depth of flavor. Now I'm adding my anchovies, and these anchovies, they are salty, so you have to really keep on top of things if you're using anchovies when it comes to your salt content, because you don't want your food to be too salty. It's better for you to undersalt a dish than for you to oversalt it. Okay, so I will then go ahead to add my aromatics. Like I mentioned to you guys, this is a one pot dish, so it is such a fun dish to make because you're literally cooking everything right there in one pot, frying separately and adding separately and all of that. No, you're adding everything at the same time, and that's the beauty of this dish. It's one of those dishes that as a child I would watch my mom come in from work, and within like 30 minutes food is ready, even sometimes less than that, because of how quickly this dish can get ready. So I'm adding some palm oil, and then this is scent leaves, also known as ntrawu. I'm using the dried version for this, and this adds an extra layer of flavor and taste to the dish. And this is literally all there is to preparing this dish. You're not doing any extra work beyond peeling your plantains and then blending your aromatics, and then you're going to cover that and let it simmer for about 10 to 20 minutes, and you're going to stir intermittently in between those times. Just keep stirring until you are certain that the plantains are cooked. Now, if you want them to get really soft, then you can let them cook for longer. But if you want a bit of a chew or a firm bite, then you can also just go with your preference. but stirring is important because you don't want them to burn underneath. And that is literally it, guys. The dish is ready. So I told you guys, it's such a quick dish to put together, and before you know it, you've got food ready. And believe me, this dish tastes like something that's been simmering for hours. You won't believe it's something you just put together in less than an hour. So I hope you get to try it. And I find that I really enjoy using unripe plantains for this, but you can also use ripe plantains, or you can use the semi-ripe version, and whatever you prefer. But yes, I hope you get to try this recipe, and I hope you enjoy it when you do. Thanks for watching, and bye.